Hey everybody, it's Jason from the Texas Gun Vault, and today I'm coming to you with a product review. Well, maybe a range report. I'm not really sure how to define this one, because this is just on a lower receiver. And this is going to be kind of a compendium to a range report that I recently did on the Blackout Defense Quantum Mark II AR-15. For a number of reasons. First of all, this is owned and lent to the channel by Ken, who lent me that other AR-15. It also has the Blackout Defense trigger in it, and I used the Blackout Defense upper receiver when I tested this lower. So if you're interested in seeing that original video, I will post a link in the description below and in the comments, so please go check that out. So what is the 17 Design lower receiver? Well, essentially, it's a billet lower receiver that has one very special function, and that is it's side folding. So, why do you want an AR-15 with a side folding stock? Well, that's a question I was kind of asking myself. Is it neat? Yes. But I have a feeling that this is a solution looking for a problem. When it comes to AR-15s, I don't really know a lot of people that go, man, oh man, I sure wish I had a folding stock on this. I know folding stocks are really nice on guns like the FN SCAR or AK-47s and those types of rifles. But on an AR-15, we've just gotten used to the buffer tube. Now the problem with the AR-15 and having a side folding stock is the fact that the bolt and the buffer both have to reciprocate into the stock. So if the stock is folded, the gun is completely useless, unlike the FN SCAR or the AK-47. All of those guns have the recoil mechanism built into the receiver, not in the stock. Another great option is the SIG MCX. It's very much like an AR-15, but because the recoil mechanism is up here and not in the stock, it also folds, and you have so many options to go with that gun as well. So not being able to fire this in the folded position, I think, is probably its biggest detriment. I also think it's probably a little bit dangerous. Now, I do believe there is a safety mechanism in here that if the stock was folded and you charged the weapon and fired it, I believe this little metal part in the back might prevent the bolt carrier from coming back and slamming you in the face, but I'm not 100% sure of that. For me, this could be a liability, especially with somebody that is unfamiliar with how guns work. And I know what you're saying, Jason, how could anybody fire that in the folded position? Well, you would be very surprised how many people don't understand the mechanics of guns. There's a reason why we have to put warning labels on hair dryers and toaster ovens to say, please don't use these items when you're taking a bath, because eventually someone's going to do it. And for me, I think someone's eventually going to try to fire this with the stock folded and probably have a bolt carrier come back in their face kind of fast. Who knows? Maybe that's not an issue and it's never happened. This is just me making stuff up, but I don't know. But let's talk about what this receiver is. This is actually a very affordable receiver. I went online and it looks like Brownells is selling them for about $200, $199. Kind of seems like it's the going rate. Let me show you a couple of close-ups of this. I have to say it is a very attractive lower receiver. It seems to be well built. It's very robust, as you would expect, because you have a lot more parts here, mainly in the receiver extension, because you're going to have a lot of stress on these parts. But as I said, it seems to be extremely well built. The mechanism that is the side folding part seems to be very, very strong. So I would have absolutely no questions or concerns when it comes to how it's going to run and how it's going to hold up over time. I'm really impressed with the design. But as I said, I think this is a solution looking for a problem. Because you can't fire the AR-15 with the folding stock, I just don't know how attractive it would be to me. Now, for someone that might want to carry one of these things in a car, have a truck gun, this might be the way to go. But because I might not look at the practicality of this and go, wow, I want one, it doesn't mean that this is a piece of junk. In fact, I think it's kind of the exact opposite. Just holding this thing, it really feels well built. I'm really impressed with it. Now, I'm not sure what came on this or if Ken bought this as a stripped lower receiver or not, but I do know he has the Blackout Defense trigger in it. I do know it has the proprietary 17 Design recoil system, and these are just some Magpul stocks and grips. So we have the MOE Plus, and this is the ACS stock. Now, a couple of things about this that I kind of do like is the fact that you have all this extra mass and length here at the end of the receiver. You are going to be able to get a little bit more length of pull. So if you already think that an M4 stock is not long enough, you probably get another inch or so on that length of pull if that's what you want. But I'm going to get this thing to the range. I'm going to put the other upper receiver from Blackout Defense on this thing. I'm pretty sure this thing's going to run. I don't know if it's going to feel any different, but let's find out. So as expected, it ran flawlessly, and with that awesome upper receiver on it, it was extremely accurate. The thing I noticed the most about shooting this as compared to the Blackout Defense lower is this thing actually was pretty darn soft shooting. So I don't know if this recoil system, which by the way is proprietary, has anything to do with that. It was a very soft shooting gun with this lower on it. But that's also what I think is one of the downsides, is the fact that you have a lot of proprietary parts on this. And so if they ever break, you are going to be hard pressed to find replacement parts. Let me see if I can get that into focus for you. Now, what you're saying, I know, is, but 17 Defense will probably fix it. And you are absolutely right. But as I have gotten burned on small companies before, sometimes these companies either go out of business or take their designs elsewhere, or just say, hey, we're not making those lower receivers anymore. We don't have any parts for them. You're SOL if anything breaks. Now, I'm not saying that that's what 17 Defense is going to do. That's just one of the concerns I always think about when it comes to buying proprietary lowers and uppers or parts for guns. I think, well, is that company going to be around? I have another example. I have a couple of Huntertown Arms silencers. Well, Huntertown Arms no longer makes silencers, and they won't service them. Yeah, I think the company is still in business, but they took most of the focus of their firearms business to other things besides silencers. So now, if I want to have it serviced by the original manufacturer, I can't. And I kind of worry about that with this lower receiver. Another thing I did notice when shooting that I kind of don't like is the lack of fencing. And the fencing usually is the raised ridge around the lower receiver. Once again, let me see if I get that in focus. That normally on a mil-spec AR-15 is going to come back here, come down around the magazine release. It doesn't have that. Now this has an extended magazine release on it, but on a mil-spec lower with that fencing, it prevents accidental pushing of that button and activating of the controls on either side. This one doesn't have a lot of that fencing. Now, for most civilian applications, that's not going to be a problem. But if it's something that bothers you, I could see where it could be a problem if you're going to use this, let's say, as a duty rifle. But I gotta say, overall, I'm pretty impressed for what it is. I think it's robust. I think it's well built. It definitely works. The connection between the lower and this hinged part is very strong. It's very sturdy. I don't really worry about it breaking. But in the end, as I said, I think this is a solution looking for a problem. So, on my star rating, how would I rate the lower receiver from 17 Defense? Well, I think I'm going to give it pretty high marks. I'm going to give it 4 out of 5 stars. Mainly because it is well engineered, well designed, and very robust, and definitely works. It might not be the product for me. I could tell you what I would really like to see though, is 17 Design coming out with a lower receiver that has this type of recoil system in it, but not with the folding stock option. I think that would be great because, as I said, this thing really does feel soft shooting, and I think their lower is very attractive. So that would be something that would appeal to me. But having the folding option doesn't, but it may to you. So if you like shooting AKs or just like to store guns in the smallest possible compartments as possible, well, being able to fold the stock is awesome. It's just not something that I would be in the market for, mainly because you can't fire the gun with the stock folded. So what do you guys think? Do you like the idea of a folding stock on an AR-15? And have you ever heard of 17 Design? I'd be curious to know what your thoughts are. Is this something that interests you? I have to say it's affordable and well built, so 4 out of 5 stars. So let me know what you think in the comments section below. And as always, thanks for watching.